Thursday night, once again. Where are we? We're at the table. What are we doing? We're talking football, baby. It's the Emergency Broadcast, episode 16. This week, we're talking about free agent fiascos, and I've got a prediction. I'm going to get cross, Chris is going to get cross, because this week's Emergency Broadcast is sponsored by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington We can't make football decisions, and that's why our teams suck. Ding!
And we are going to call them the Redskins because obviously during this time, they were still the Redskins. Now, Washington football team on board. But at the time, the Redskins sucked. And so there's going to be a whole segment devoted to the Redskins hosted by me. That's why I'm wearing Browns gear. And this is not Colt McCoy. This is Josh Gordon.
So, where do we start with this free agent fiasco? I think we'll start at the top. We'll go old, and then we'll go new, and then we'll go Buccaneers, and then we'll finish off with the piece à la résistance. The Washington Emmitt Smith. 2003, the Arizona Cardinals said, Emmitt Smith, he's been one of the best runners of all time. He's got the all-time rushing record, but he's 34 years old. Sod it. 2 years, $8 million. He was the oldest man of all time. His legs didn't work, and the whole reason they signed him was a publicity stunt because they were trying to get people to come and watch the games in Phoenix because they'd moved in 1997, I think, and they couldn't even fill ASU Stadium. So they thought, let's get old man Emmitt Smith. That's going to draw in people from the wider Arizona area. Did it? Yes. Did he run well? No, he did not. His low point was in week 5 of the first season. He went back to Dallas. He had 6 carries for -1 yard and then had a shoulder injury and left the game. So he had more shoulder injuries in that game than rushing yards. Number 2, Scott Mitchell of the Detroit Lions. This dude was 6'6", 230 pounds. He's Andre the Giant in a Lions uniform. Scott Mitchell spent a lot of time backing up Dan Marino in Miami, and he, like Matt Flynn, who we'll get to later, took his opportunity when Dan Marino hit the deck. Now, in 1993, Dan Marino went down, and Scott Mitchell had a few good games. He plays well, and then it comes to free agency, and a needy team, usually a rubbish team, goes, oh, sod it, let's just give them loads of money. So he got $11 million, and Scott Mitchell played like hot garbage because he was never a starting quarterback. He was just like a backup. Well, to be fair, he played well in 1995. Statistically, the MVP of the league in 1995, but you're not going to give MVP to Scott Mitchell, are you? He rode Barry Sanders and Herman Moore like Seattle slew into the playoffs. And then he got to the playoffs and they said, go on then, Scott, show us the magic. Show us why we gave you $11 million. Pick, 2 playoff losses. He played so badly that left tackle Lomas Brown admitted to letting players go past so they would hit him and he'd get knocked out of the game.
Detroit Lions, we were playing Green Bay, and he just stunk up the place, throwing interception. So I looked at Kevin Glover, our all-pro center, and I said, Glove, that is it. I say, I'm getting him out the game.
Next up, number 3, your boy, Ahman Green, an absolute workhorse in Green Bay. That's a positive and a negative. Positive if you're the Green Bay Packers, because you've got Brett Favre chucking bombs, and then you've got Ahman Green smashing up the middle. But if you're the Houston Texans, who are looking to pick up a workhorse back in his late 20s, early 30s, he's like a pencil worn down to the nub. 4 years, $23 million, and he was completely worn out. But he played so badly, they signed Ahman Green. They also signed Ron Dane. No gain Ron Dane for the New York Giants, and he outran him. Ahman Green could not stay healthy because he was worn out. Houston Texans, you're on the list. Jeff Garcia, Cleveland Browns.
Lovely. Finished his life with a...
His life? Is he dead?
No, he finished his career with a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Well, this is the thing with Jeff Garcia. He played very well. He was an overachiever in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Played very well. And so at the end of his tenure, in 2004, the Cleveland Browns, the quarterback needy, the brand new, at this point, Cleveland Browns, who have had Tim Couch, Spurgeon the Surgeon win, and they think, okay, we need a slam dunk at quarterback. Let's pay $25 million to the bald wonder, the coot, Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia comes in and plays hot trash again. I mean, if they're on the list, they're playing hot trash. He didn't even last a season. He played 10 games and then got cut. And then as soon as he got cut, he goes to the Eagles, takes them to the playoffs, goes to the Bucs, takes them to the playoffs. So arguably, I'm going to blame the Cleveland Browns on that one.
The birds.
I'm sorry, who else is giving you that kind of content? Come on. Jeff Garcia, feed the birds. Next up, going down to Boston. David Boston for the San Diego Chargers. David Boston was an absolute beast for the Arizona Cardinals. He was huge again. He was like Scott Mitchell, but playing wide receiver. It was like a slam dunk move for the San Diego Chargers. And this is our first free agent signing that gets really, really, really bad. 7 years. $47 million with $12 million guaranteed. He was immature. He fought the conditioning coach. The team didn't like him. The media didn't like him. He fell asleep in meetings. He did performance-enhancing drugs. He was injured. He was locker room cancer. Everything you want out of someone you're playing $47 million to catch a football. And he didn't even do that. David Boston was useless. Huge free agent bust. Also, his dad was an official. Yeah. Your boy, Neil O'Donnell, going to the New York Jets.
Hot trash.
Hot trash Neil O'Donnell. They signed him to be the guy because they were trying to replace Boomer Esiason. Listen to this for a quarterback room. The New York Jets had Boomer Esiason, who is as old as time at this point, Frank Reich, who was all right for the Buffalo Bills, and then Bobby Brister. I would have gone with Bobby Brister, but they went with Neil O'Donnell. They gave him the biggest free agent contract in New York Jets history. And what had he just done? Super Bowl XXX, the sexiest Super Bowl. He threw 2 disgusting picks to Larry Brown, a nobody, and we'll get to Larry Brown later. He was the only man in the entire field. Like it was just empty, and then Neil O'Donnell went, "Here you go, Larry." And Larry Brown went, "Thanks." In interviews, Larry Brown has said, "He gave me my Super Bowl MVP. Thank you, Neil. Thank you very much." Andre Bambin Rison, who seems to come up every single episode.
Yeah, this is like the second release of NFL Jams.
Exactly. Who burned his house down?
Lisa Left Eye Lopez.
It's not an emergency broadcast. He didn't tell the audience that Andre Rison's house was burned down.
It's honestly the only thing I've said all show.
Andre Rison, he was good with the Atlanta Falcons, but they signed him to the Browns to be the guy. They gave him a 5-year, $17 million contract, and he dropped 46% of passes. He caught 46% of passes thrown to him.
That's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. He played 1 year on a 5-year, $70 million contract. He played so badly, he lasted 1 year with the Browns. Again, the Browns are featuring quite a lot on this list. Maybe it's a Browns problem. Who knows? He played 1 year, then went to Jacksonville, and then the next time he pops up, he's winning a ring with the Packers and Desmond Howard in Super Bowl XXXI.
Has a man open. Andre Rison does the dance in, and Favre got settled down in a hurry.
Now, Oakland Raiders, Super Bowl MVPs. I guessed that Al Davis used to sit and watch the Super Bowl and just go,
"Yeah, who's that guy?
I want him.
I want him. I'll take him."
So he signed Larry Brown, who we just talked about, with Neil O'Donnell just lobbing him picks. So he got 2 interceptions in Super Bowl XXX, the sexiest Super Bowl ever. He got 2 picks and was named Super Bowl MVP. And that is the best thing he ever did. He couldn't believe his luck. And then the Oakland Raiders went, "He's the guy," despite the fact he'd never been the guy and was definitely not the guy. So they paid Larry Brown $12 million, and he was just a serviceable player. He had no coverage skills, and the Raiders played a man-to-man system. Al Davis, ladies and gentlemen. And then he signed Desmond Howard from Super Bowl XXXI, the sexiest Super Bowl +1.
A lot of bus players are named after colours, I've just realised.
What, green,
brown.
Green, brown. Desmond Howard was an overpaid journeyman kickoff returner, and Al Davis said, "He's the guy," and he wasn't.
Better turn it on or he's gone. Desmond Howard.
So we'll get into more recent times because we've looked at the history, we've seen the others, and then we're going to get to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then we'll get to the Washington Redskins. No better could people understand free agent woe than me and you and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington Redskins. 2011, the Eagles took Nnamdi Asomugha, current Broadway star Nnamdi Asomugha. He was a prized free agent in 2011, and the Eagles signed Jason Babin, Colin Jenkins, and Vince Young. And the latter of those 3 called the 2011 Eagles the Dream Team. Guess what, Vince Young? No, they're not. He got 4 interceptions in 2 seasons. He got toasted in coverage and was released after 2 years. Matt Flynn, 2012. A modern-day Scott Mitchell sits there. Scott Mitchell's backing up Dan Marino. He gets injured. 1993, Scott Mitchell takes over. Plays all right. Matt Flynn, in his contract year, he knew he had to do something because, the Packers probably aren't going to keep him on. And he's sat behind Aaron Rodgers for years. In his contract year, he knows that he is going to go into the offseason and he needs to put a performance in. Matt Flynn blew the roof off. His family must have been like, "Oh my God, who is this guy? 6 touchdowns, 480 yards in 1 game." He did that and then just went, "Yeah, I'm good." Rode into the offseason and the Seahawks went, How much do you want, Matt? Interestingly, they signed Matt Flynn, 3 years, $20.5 million, and then they went to the draft and thought, we've got our guy. We don't need to take a quarterback that high. Who's this in round 3? Russell Wilson.
From
Wisconsin. Well, go on then. We'll have Wisconsin.
They made fun of his height during that draft. Well, hopefully that rain in Seattle will make him grow a little bit to a human on the best day of his life.
Wisconsin was crying.
His name is baby Win.
Win?
Yeah.
Win Wisconsin. So, the Seahawks are riding pretty in 2012. They've got their offensive starter, future Pro Bowler, and surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, Matt Flynn, and then some dude named Risewell Wooswan. Out of nowhere, Risewell Wooswan from Wisconsin beats out Matt Flynn, the man who had one good game and they paid him millions and millions of dollars. He attempted 9 passes in a Hawks uniform and then they traded him to the Raiders. Houston Texans, Brock Osweiler. You knew you'd be on the list, Brock. Why are you watching? Why did you click on this video? You knew you were going to be on the list. 2016, Manning went down for the Denver Broncos and Brock Osweiler swoops in. Another Scott Mitchell, another Matt Flynn. So he comes in at the end of the 2016 season, plays 7 games, goes 4-2 as a starter. Then when Manning comes back in week 17, Peyton Manning comes back in week 17, and Brock goes, what do you mean Peyton Manning's replacing me? I've gone 4-2. Yes, but that's Peyton Manning, Brock Osweiler. He got so aggy with the Broncos, he's like, I'm not signing with you. And then the Houston Texans went, do you like money? Brock Osweiler went, yes, I love money. He played absolutely rubbish. He threw 10 touchdowns, 6 picks. Everyone knows what happened there. It's 4 years, $72 million, and then he went back to the Broncos. Mike Glennon for the Bears in 2017.
So glad you mentioned Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon is the Nicholas Anelka of football quarterbacks. The guy's earned so much money through being traded. It's unbelievable.
But it's just like, as a Bucs fan, I know that we shank free agency. And I looked at the Bears and I was like, what? As a Bucs fan, I was like, what are you doing? He started 2 games in 2 years and they paid him starter money and then they drafted Mitch Trubisky. He started 4 games in Chicago, threw 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and they released him after 1 season.
Yeah. And he looks like a goose trying to swallow a bullcock.
AJ Green, you're going on the list.
Wow.
Cincinnati Bengals. It's not technically free agency, but if you're paying a 32-year-old wide receiver the franchise tag, $18 million, that's a poor decision.
Q's mainly saying this because Auden Tate follows us and watches this, so...
Exactly, Auden Tate.
You're going to get the job, Auden, don't worry, man.
Let's get on to the real meat and drink of why we're here. I'll start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'll get cross, and then I'll pass over to you, and you can do the Washington Redskins, and you'll get cross.
And you can laugh.
And I can laugh. So we'll take turns. First up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Anthony Collins, left tackle. We let Donald Penn, who had started for us for 7 years at left tackle, kind of an important position, Tampa, we let him walk so that we could get Anthony Collins. We gave him a 5-year, $30 million deal. He started 25 games in 6 years with the Bengals, and we just said, have all the money in the world. He was released after 1 season. Michael Johnson, defensive end, not the Olympic runner, the useless defensive end, again from the Bengals. The Bengals were laughing. They took us around the shed and they were like, oh yeah, we've got Anthony Collins and Michael Johnson. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers looked in the Bengals' weird old shed and went, yeah, we'll have your rubbish players. How much do you want for him? Blank check? Fine. Michael Johnson, he played well for the Bengals, but he only had 1 year with double-digit sacks. 5 years, $43.7 million for 4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. After 1 year, see you later. Goes back to the Bengals.
We got him.
I've really got myself worked up here before the absolute climax of what I'm going to talk about. Eric Wright, 5 years, $37.5 million. He lasted 1 season and got 1 interception. What are you doing?
You might think that t-shirt is tie-dye. It's actually Hugh's internal organs exploding as he's doing this.
We tried to trade him to the 49ers. They said yes. Then he failed his physical and came back. We can't get rid of him. So we had to cut him, and then the 49ers picked him up anyway.
We got him.
Chris Baker.
Oh, sorry about that one.
Chris Swaggy Baker, 2017, 3 years, $15.7 million. We knew he was lazy. We knew he was a layabout. We watched Hard Knocks. Everyone watched Hard Knocks. He humped a tree. We've seen his interviews but on national television, he's shaking his belly around.
That was his main move.
We thought if we put him next to Gerald McCoy, he'd mature a bit. Would he ever? Chris Baker recorded half a sack in Tampa Bay. Not even a whole sack, a half a sack. We cut him and he never played again.
You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
And I want to put Darrelle Revis on this list just because it's so Tampa Bay. And this is my final one. It wasn't a free agency, it was a trade. We traded a first-round pick, a first-round, number 13 overall, for 1 year, 16 million rental of Darrelle Revis, a man who we knew wouldn't fit our scheme, a shut-down man-to-man corner when we played Tampa Cover 2, coming off ACL surgery. So, from that trade, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1 year, $16 million, we get Darrelle Revis, we can't use him, he's brilliant, we just can't use him. And from that point, the pick that we gave to the Jets, they picked up a no-named player called Sheldon Richardson, Defensive Rookie of the Year. And then Darrelle Revis went on his merry way to the Patriots and won a ring. Chris, it's all yours.
Hugh is notably angry because he still has a lot of passion for his team. I, being a Washington fan, have been numbed to any sense of emotion when regarding my team. The Washington Redskins are like the fabled Weaver and Rumpelstiltskin, spinning gold out of straw. Except instead of gold, it's disappointment, and instead of straw, it's hope. You can't be a Redskins fan without, at some point, getting that flicker of hope ignited again, despite all the history, all the failure. Dan Snyder started taking over Washington's affairs in May of 1999, and he decided that he had too much money. So in 2000, he decided to make Washington the first team to spend over $100 million in free agent acquisitions. Safety, Mark Carrier, that was the same season that they brought in banning helmet-to-helmet hits, which made him basically useless. He got suspended in his first game after his first tackle. Jeff George was brought in that year as well on a 4-year, $18.25 million contract. He was backing up Brad Johnson, who at the time was incumbent, got injured, got released to a team that went on to do something a little bit later with Brad Johnson as the quarterback.
Those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super Bowl champion Brad Johnson.
Jeff played 6 games in 2000, throwing 7 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Jeff ended up getting benched after game 1 of the 2001 season after we got beaten by the Chargers, and then completely shut out by Green Bay in game 2.
He got cut after the 3rd game of that second season.
A lot of these stories end with he has not played with another NFL team since the Redskins.
The last stop on a magical mystery tour of rubbish players. The final destination, this train terminates at Washington or Tampa.
Adrian Murrell. Same season, 2000. Never heard of him? 3-time 1,000-yard rusher for the Jets and Cardinals. Redskins, do you know what he managed to put together? 50 yards on 20 carries. Now we move on to the big boys. Deion Sanders, prime time. At this point, not so much in his prime. 5 years, $56 million. He played 1 year with us.
He had a toe issue.
Why? If you're a Redskins fan, Deion Sanders has terrorized the Redskins the entire time he's been at the Cowboys. Like, no joke. Like, seriously embarrassed us every single game. And then you go and sign him. No one wanted Deion Sanders there. No one liked Deion Sanders in Washington. And then, what does he do? Has a toe issue, doesn't play for us, fucks off, and still is spending Dan Snyder's money now on frivolous purchases. If I was Deion Sanders, anytime I'm making a frivolous purchase, I'll just be like, I'm not going to spend my money on that. I'll spend Washington's money on that.
Thanks,
I think
Dan.
Even now, yeah.
It was the year 2000 that the Redskins decided to sign the 1992 Pro Bowl team because you had Bruce Smith as well.
Bruce Smith actually wasn't bad for us for the first year, but basically he was just trying to hold on for the sack record, and Dan Snyder was very happy to oblige.
All he wanted was the sack record.
Yeah. He started a locker room revolt against Marty Schottenheimer in 2001 because he didn't want to do the Oklahoma drill, which Schottenheimer had always started, which is, if anyone doesn't know, those 2 players face off against each other and just basically batter each other. And Bruce Smith was like, I'm far too old to be doing that. Yeah, he was arrested in 2003 for drunk driving in Virginia Beach, yet wasn't cut so he could hold on and get that sack record the next year.
He did it.
That was it. Bruce Smith got 5 years, 23 million. And that was it. And I mean, then it went downhill for the Redskins. I mean, then, like I said...
Then it went downhill.
Then in 2005, we signed hard-hitting Adam Archuleta at safety.
You had Ryan Clark, who was a great safety, and you let him walk to the Steelers, where he played excellently.
Because we had too much money. We decided to give Adam Archuleta $30 million for 6 years. Unfortunately, he was beaten out by Troy Vincent after 1 year. The crown jewel of our free agency nightmare.
but you're down on the ground. You have to get up.
Albert Haynesworth has a penchant for buying crazy boats. Let's see some pics here.
Boats. Boats. Boats.
He also doesn't have a penchant for playing well for the Washington Redskins. Okay, we signed him in 2009 to a 7-year, $100 million.
Whole lot of money, got a whole lot of money. Whole lot of money, I got a whole lot of money.
Show me the money.
$100 million.
And at that point, you knew that he was, Titans bad boy. He played very well in Tennessee, but he also stomped a guy almost to death.
Right there.
Oh my gosh.
He was suspended by Mike Shanahan for conduct detrimental to the team.
Refused to do a fitness test at
Yep.
training camp.
He basically refused to play football. I mean, there's the famous footage of him refusing to run after Michael Vick. Yeah, doing the Jamarcus.
Playing dead.
Yeah. And Chris Cooley has gone on record by saying that he is one of the worst humans of all time because he solely signed with the Redskins for getting paid because he banked on the fact that teams didn't have a problem cutting players before the end of their contract.
There was video of Albert Haynesworth fighting Titans teammates. There's an entire compilation video of him just fighting teammates in training camp, and then you gave him $100 million.
In the same way the European settlers destroyed the Native American population, Dan Snyder has ravaged the hopes and dreams of Redskins Nation. Albert Haynesworth, you are the smallpox-infected blanket that we were given.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the National Vintage League Emergency Broadcast number 16. I've got a sweaty back. I've been that cross. Chris, how are you feeling?
I mean, just sad.
Important parish notice. If you enjoy the emergency broadcast, share it.
Oh, yeah, please.
We're trying to do something here. We absolutely love doing it, but we can only accomplish where we want to go, do the things we want to do. We've got huge plans for this stupid little table and this niche, stupid relationship. So if you enjoy the emergency broadcast, send it to everyone. Put it on your family group chat. Put it on your Instagram story. We need your help. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the emergency broadcast, episode 16. We will see you next Thursday night. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. And sign Albert Haynesworth. You didn't want to drop that because it's too expensive.
No, absolutely.
With the 75th pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select...
Win Wiseballs Woosbon.